Hi, I'm Dr. Jared Gardner. Thank you for the invitation to speak today. I'm going to try to talk to you about my basic approach to online education using digital pathology. It's going to be difficult to summarize that and put it into 25 minutes, but I'm going to do my best. Before we start, I wanted to give you some disclosures. I'm going to talk about a lot of things today that I do have financial relationships with. I receive ad revenue sharing from views of my videos on YouTube and my posts on KeycodeXP.com. So if you're not cool with that, do not watch my videos or see my Keycode posts. I also have done paid consultation work, mostly related to social media for a variety of companies, including Keycode. I hold stock in Google, which owns YouTube, and Apple, and also in PathPresenter, and I'm on the advisory board for PathPresenter. And I receive royalties for books, and I don't own any stock in Facebook or Twitter. And if you want, I actually keep in my Dropbox an up-to-date conflict of interest. That's a Word document, and if you follow this little bit.ly link there, that'll take you to that. So I find Dropbox and short links to be super helpful for lots of things. And then also a social media guide, that's a link right down there, and I'll talk about that in a minute. So this is the basic summary approach of what I've been doing currently. The way I teach online has changed over time and continues to evolve as I learn new ways of doing things. So I'm sure 6 months from now, I'll have new things that I'm doing because 6 months ago, there's stuff that I'm doing now that I wasn't doing back then. But here's the basic approach as it stands in August 2021 at the time I'm making this video. I use digital slides a lot for teaching now. I do that, the vast majority of the teaching I do online now is via digital slides and to a lesser extent glass slides. First, I usually will upload the digital slide to an online platform, PathPresenter and Keycode being the ones that I use almost exclusively. Like I said, I have relationships with both those companies. I'm friends with the founders of both of those companies. I find both their platforms really great, which is why I got involved with the companies. So I use those platforms to share the slides and so that whoever my intended audience is can view it. A lot of times I'm going to be giving, an invited talk to some residents at another institution via, Zoom or Teams or something like that. But you could also use it as an individual case, or you can use a digital slide set for your own residents in your own institution, however you want. So then I'll share the digital slide set with my audience as unknowns usually, although that's optional. Sometimes I run out of time to put the slide set together ahead of time, so I'll just pull up the slides and show them on my computer and use Zoom to share my screen. That's an alternative if you don't have time to send them as unknowns. And then I'll give the live virtual lecture, like I said, through whatever platform the institution that invited me wants me to use. And also, you can use, PowerPoint like I'm doing right here. That's fine too. And you just make a screen recording of your lecture. So I find that to be incredibly useful, and that's been one beneficial outcome of the horrible COVID pandemic is that now everyone has been forced to adapt to digital virtual learning. And so now I can give lectures virtually, which allows me to easily record them. And in fact, it's really difficult for me to give a live traditional lecture now because I think about the fact that I'm spending an hour of time teaching and I can't record it and put it on YouTube later. So it feels like it's kind of wasted time, whereas if I can give a talk and record it and then share it online so that other people can come reference it again if they want, even my own students and residents can use it, and it can also be used for learning for other pathologists and learners around the world. I do video recording with Screencast-O-Matic. I've been really happy with that app on PC. It works really well. I think it's there's a free version. I think I pay like $20 a year to have the watermark removed from the recording. Totally 100% worth it to me. On Mac, QuickTime Player is built into Macs as a native app, and you can do screen recordings with that. And I have a video that explains how to make videos. I'll show you that in a minute. And of course, you can use glass slides as well if you want and still accomplish these things. Then afterwards, I'll upload my video to YouTube and Keycode. I usually cross-post to both platforms. I do a lot of cross-posting of the same content across multiple platforms online because different people use different platforms or like different platforms. So I find that helps get the widest distribution of any teaching material by using multiple different platforms. I do the same thing with Facebook and Twitter. The other thing is I do often do some editing, particularly if I'm doing a video recording where I'm having an unknowns discussion with like my residents, and you can see I've got lots of those on my YouTube channel. I want them to feel comfortable talking and speaking openly, telling me what they think the diagnosis is, even if they get it wrong, and not worry that that's going to be permanently preserved on YouTube for future generations to see. So what I always tell my audience is I'm going to record this, just to notify them, if nothing else, for legal reasons, and to let them know that I will go through the video later and make sure that I edit out any parts where someone maybe made a mistake or anything that I think a learner might feel uncomfortable with. And so far, knocking on wood here, I've not had any problems. No one's complained. But in fact, some of my residents have come to me and said, oh, my friend at a residency program in California told me that they heard my voice answering a question in the video. And so it's, for some of them, it seems like they're kind of cool with it and think it's interesting. So. And then finally, what I'll often do after I've got the video uploaded as a way to get people to come watch the video, instead of just saying, hey, here's a video link on YouTube, I'll actually share the digital slides or images of them, and then a link to the digital slide for people to see on Path Presenter or Keycode, and then a link to the video as an answer. So that way learners can see the pictures, they can go explore the digital slide, and then they can go, whenever they're ready to get the actual answer, they can go look at the video and find out what the diagnosis is and get an explanation. So it allows it to be kind of a staged learning process because a lot of times learners like that unknown format, but they also don't want to have to wait until tomorrow or next week for the answer. All right, so now that's the summary, and we'll spend the rest of the time here showing you some examples. So here's Path Presenter, which I'm sure many of you are familiar with. You have to sign up for an account, but it's free. You can have a slide box where you upload your own slides, but also there's a public slide library with thousands and thousands of slides that have been uploaded, and that can be used by anyone who uses the platform. So even if you, and I think this is a really great, amazing tool, and there are other, I know the Digital Pathology Association has its own kind of slide deck, I think hosted by Path Presenter if I recall, and I know that there are other organizations that have their own slides, but this one's public. You can use slides from here and insert them into your presentation and share them with anyone you want. So it's a great place if you're like, well, I don't have a good example of entity X, come and check the slide library on Path Presenter, and then you can share that and use it for teaching. And so you can also you can share individual slides, or you can build presentations. So in here, I've got an example of one of my presentations pulled up. This was a presentation of multiple slides I put together, and I used these for a lecture I gave at McGill University in Canada virtually last year. So here's a nice example of a beautiful hibernoma. And if you don't, oh, I think I had this open too long. Let me refresh it. Beautiful hibernoma here. And look at that. If you don't like that, I can't help you. And so the thing is, you can send the slide, but also in your presentation, you can upload a PowerPoint, and you can have PowerPoint slides, and then in between those, you can have digital slides. I often just use the digital slides because I don't like making PowerPoints, to be quite honest. It's a lot of work, and it's not as fun as just looking at pretty microscopic slides. So, and then you can also, if you want, you can annotate the slides. So you click up here at the top, and you can add an annotation and say, oh, here, these are the, the mulberry cells or whatever. You can add a comment, mulberry cells. That's what the derm path people like to call them. These multivaculated cells that you see in hibernoma. Or you can also create polls and ask your audience to, to tell you what they think the answer is to the question. So it's a lot of, you can either just show the slides, or you can add a whole lot of extra stuff like annotations. You can make it as in-depth and as intricate as you like. And whatever works for you and for your learners. And so then you can advance from case to case. Use your arrow. I'm using my arrow keys on the keyboard here, and here's an alveolar soft part sarcoma, I think. And then you can do that. So that's one way to share things, and you can either share individual slides or the entire presentation if you want. And then here's an example of the public library. I searched for melanoma, and you can see tons of ocular melanomas and cutaneous melanomas. And oh, look, one of them I think was uploaded by me. And so you can sarcomatoid melanoma. So you can pull up someone else's slide and embed that into your presentation to use. And also you can share the slide by this. You can click on the little QR code here, and you can either get an actual scannable QR code, or you can hit copy the link, and then you can go make a tweet or a post on any of your social media accounts, and you can paste the tweet and say, hey, check out this slide right here. And if I put paste there, it'll bring someone, if they click on that, it'll bring them straight to that slide. Or, oh, I think I clicked the wrong one. So but anyway, that's a really, really useful feature to be able to share these slides. So this is the way that you can actually share digital slides through any format you want, through email, through social media, or whatever. Okay? So there's examples of how you can use Path Presenter, and just a shout out for this really incredible masterclass in pathology that was all conducted using digital slides via Path Presenter. So you can actually organize entire conferences on the platform. And I was one of the speakers, but there were wonderful speakers from around the world here. And I think like 7,000 people signed up for this. And all of these videos and of the lectures are all recorded. You just have to go to conferences.pathpresenter.net and then sign up, and it'll give you an email that you can log in, and it's free. So consider letting your residents know about that and checking it out for yourself. Really, really great learning here. All right, so let me show you how I use Keycode. So similar format, you can upload a slide here, and I can either say, hey, here's the diagnosis, and here's a nice example, and here's a link to a video that explains in more detail, and I can pull it up, and I can rotate it around if I need to, and zoom in, and see the really amazing example up here of a primary cutaneous mucinous carcinoma. So that's one, and then if I want, I can share this link, and I can post it in a tweet or a Facebook post or whatever I want. All right. So here's an example from Twitter, and this is what my Twitter account looks like. And I do encourage all of you to consider building a professional Twitter for yourself. It's a really great way to interact with the pathology Twitter, or the hashtag Path Twitter community is a really warm and friendly place that's very welcoming to new people. And it's an awesome way to teach and to learn, and it's a great way to share your teaching content to a wider audience. And you can learn from amazing, world experts here. It's pretty awesome. So I'll post on here. Here's an example of a tweet. So I built some unknown skinned Nexel digital slides on Path Presenter, and I posted the link right here so that anyone who wants can go and see it and quiz them. Go do a quiz, and then they can look at all the slides, figure out what they think it is, sebaceous tumors here, and then they can go and they can see the answers at another link. I think in this case, I think I had the answer link. Actually, I was on Keycode for this one. So if I click that link here, it'll pull up the video of the lecture that I gave with all of these Nexel slides, okay? And so that's a way to do that, to allow people to kind of use the unknown format. Here's another one. This is a set of slides that I put together using Keycode, in this case, for a lecture I gave at Emory last December. And somewhere on here, I thought I had the tweet pulled up. Oh yeah, it's right here. This is the next one down. I've got the tweet right here. That is, so I took screenshots from the Keycode post. Here's the clinical images of a fungating mass on the toe, and then here's the digital slide. So I took the screenshots and I put them into the tweets, and then I said, hey, this is a nodule in the toe. What's your diagnosis? And there's a bonus finding. Can you find it? And then if you want to see the digital slide, click this link, which pulls up that post. And then if you want to see the answer, click this link here. So that way people can look at this, they can go through the pictures and think, this is a big polypoid thing, it's got vessels in it, but this quality of these photos isn't as great, maybe let me go look at the digital slide. So they click the link and they pull up the digital slide here. And then they can zoom in and they can really explore the whole slide in nice detail and see everything. And this is a massive pyogenic granuloma, lobular capillary hemangioma. And the bonus finding that's really fascinating is, look, little red and white cell precursors. So there's extramedullary hematopoiesis in this massive PG here. So kind of a curious incidental finding. There's some more of it down here, if I recall. Yeah, there it is. So anyway, but we're not doing a dermpath or soft tissue lecture, so I guess I should move on. So, but this way though, the learner can see the case, they can think about it for themselves. If they want, they can, I think I've got some slides here of the immunostains even, so they can go in and see, oh, let me look at the immunostains and see what the CD34 looked like. So you can add as much or as little, you can add radiology, whatever you want. And then when they're ready to get the answer, and see I put here spoiler alert, so if you want to do these as unknowns, don't click look at all of them first, and then when you're ready, you can click to see the answers. And so here is where, oh, I think I used the wrong link. There, I've got the answers listed out for each of the cases, and that one, like I said, was a PG with extramedullary hematopoiesis. And if people want, then they can go actually, and they can watch the whole video where I gave the talk to the Emory residents and explained everything, so they can get it in more depth. And I forgot to put it in at the beginning, but what I often do is I record a large video of 8 or 10 or 15 cases, whatever I'm doing. But some people will watch a 1 or 2 or 3 hour long video, but other people don't want to do that. They want short little segments, right? So I feel like there are different styles of learners. So what I usually do is I'll make a big compilation video, and then later I'll go back and edit that same video and break it apart into smaller fragments. So a video that was 1 hour and had 8 cases, I break it down, and each case ends up being 5 to 10 minutes long. And then those individual segments I put out on YouTube and Keycode, so people can watch those individual videos too. And I find that people really like that because, for one thing, sometimes you might have a really interesting case that someone wants to know about, but if it's buried in the middle of a cutaneous soft tissue compilation video, a lot of learners might want to know about that topic but never be able to find it because it's buried in the middle of this big 1.5 hour long video. But once I take it out and label the video by that entity name, epithelioid rhabdomyosarcoma or whatever, then that allows learners to come and find that specific video, and other people who want to watch a large, compilation of unknowns can do that too. And I've been doing that for a while, and I thought people might get upset that I'm like reusing content. I don't think anyone's ever even mentioned like, hey, I saw that case before in that other video you did a year ago. No one ever even notices because I've got too many videos now. So it's also beneficial because you can create content once and then you can reuse it again in multiple different ways, which is a more efficient way to make the most educational use possible out of your material. All right, so let's see what I've got here. Oh, that was that presentation. We've already talked about all these. All right, and so I also will share, not only will I tweet, but I'll actually share the same kind of links to videos and to digital slides. I share them both on Twitter and on my professional Facebook page. So many of you have a personal Facebook account, but if you're concerned about privacy or think your friends and family probably don't want to see a bunch of pathology stuff, I would encourage you to create a professional public Facebook page. You use your regular account and you make a page, and that can be seen by anyone on the internet, whether or not they are logged into Facebook or if they're friends with you. So it's a nice way to be able to share educational, professional content so the whole world can see it and learn from it. But at the same time, it creates a barrier of privacy. See, like right here, I run this page from my personal Facebook account, but you can't see anything of my personal Facebook here when you're viewing this as a member of the public. So unless you're friends with me on my personal account. So even though I'm not a very private person, a lot of people are. And so this is a really great solution, and it's very easy to use. So again, I share, links to all of the different stuff that I post. I posted it on Twitter and on Facebook. And I actually use an app called Buffer app, but there are other ones like Hootsuite that allow you to build tweets, and it shares them to Twitter and to Facebook, and if you want to Instagram or LinkedIn, I think, and you can have them automated. You set them up and you sit down and build 10 different tweets, and then tell it, I want you to tweet 1 per day for the next, until all of them are gone. And then you can go back and you can reuse those old tweets. I find that actually to be a really incredible tool. I think I pay like $100 a year for the professional level version that lets me keep 100 tweets or posts in my queue, and then the ability to go back and reuse them is great because once I've already, even though it's not a lot of text here, taking the time to figure out how to write that, put your pictures together, make a link, it takes a little time. So once you've done it once, why not do it again? And look, you might think, well, if I already tweeted this mucinous carcinoma 6 months ago, won't people get upset if I retweet it now? Oh, absolutely not. They will not. Most people, I reuse content all the time. For good cases, I tweet them again and again. Usually every 2 or 3 months, I'll put the case back into my queue and have it tweet and go back to Facebook again and again and again, because there's going to be new people that missed it that are now on Twitter that weren't there before. There are going to be people that missed it the first go round and didn't see it. And even for the people who saw it and already learned from the case, it's just a refresher to remind them, oh yeah, remember this diagnosis. No one gets upset, and if they're like, oh, I already know that, they can just scroll right past it. That's the beauty beauty of social media. You don't have to, look at everything. You can just move past it if you're not interested. And look, even though I've shared this mucinous carcinoma, I don't know, I think I first posted it like 6 months ago, and I've shared it probably 5 or 6 times since then. And look at how many people have seen this post that I posted 2 days ago. I posted this at 7 p.m. So 48 hours, 8,000 people have seen it, and it got 100 and some likes already. And again, I've posted this multiple times, the same exact case, the same exact wording, all of it. So don't be afraid to do that. I should have probably pulled that up. Actually, let me show you. Buffer app is what I like, but again, it's just because that's what I've been using. I guess I don't have the login. Well, in any case, I forgot this computer didn't have the saved login. So in any case, so that's the app that I really like, but there are other ones like Hootsuite that let you do scheduled tweets, and I highly recommend those if you're going to do social media in any capacity for education. It saves an enormous amount of time to do that, okay? Let's see, the next thing I was going to say was I do have a social media guide. It's here at pathinfo. If you just look up actually social media guide pathologists on Google, it'll be the top thing. And when I built this was like a wiki site. I built it 10 years ago or so, maybe longer than that, when I was supposed to be studying for boards. It's a lot easier to get stuff done when you're procrastinating from something that's more important but less fun to do. And in any case, though, over time it's become relatively spammy with ads and stuff, so eventually I'll probably move this to a different location. But you can go through here and it tells you everything about how to set up Twitter, how to build a Facebook page, how to avoid HIPAA problems, all that stuff. It's basically an online FAQ of all the social media stuff people have asked me over the years. So feel free to check that out if you like. And this is, again, Screencast-O-Matic. That's the screen recording app that I like to use on a PC. That's what I'm using to record this talk right now. I otherwise can't show you what it looks like because I'm using it to record. When I'm on my MacBook and I'm using, when I'm recording there, I just use the QuickTime Player. Like I said, it's a pretty easy built-in way to do screen recordings. And I've got here on my YouTube channel, I have a video about how to make pathology videos. Now, I did build this a couple years ago. I've changed a few things in the meantime. I've changed jobs, so my camera setup and microscope setup are a little different, but the same basic principles apply about how I build videos, how I edit them, and to edit videos I use iMovie on my MacBook. I have never done editing to any significant extent on a PC, so I'm sorry I don't actually have much information about that. And I'm going to pause it here real quick. I want to show you that if you go to watch this video, or any of my videos on YouTube, check down here in the video description, and I often will have, if it's a pathology video, I'll have a list of the entities discussed, often with the timestamp, so that you can jump ahead. So a lot of times I have a bunch of extra info in the video description, and if it's digital slides, I'll put links to the digital slides down there. So that's a really useful way to, again, give extra content to your online learners. And then here in this particular video, the how to make pathology videos, you can see, like, you may not want to watch this whole hour and 20-minute long thing. You may just want to know, how do I do video editing on iMovie? Well, just click that link and it will jump you to the part where I talk about that and explain how to do those edits, okay? And I've got stuff in here about how to actually build and upload, build a YouTube channel, upload to YouTube, how to use analytics, all of that stuff. So that should give you more information. But when I created this, I didn't know about Screencast-O-Matic. So I've changed and I've started using that to do screen recording. And I've used digital slides a lot more than glass at that point. But I think I do have some stuff in here about using digital slides. But the similar principles apply. So those are kind of the basics of what I do. Oh, the very last thing before we go is this. And this is one regret I have in retrospect from all the social media stuff that I've done, is I wish I would have kept a list somewhere, whether on a website. I still have never created a personal website for myself. I've kind of used all my social media channels as sort of in lieu of an online website. But I wish I would have either in a Word document or on a website or somewhere kept a list with a link to all the good tweets and posts that I've made. Yes, I can still find them, but I'm at the point now where I've got like 50 or 60,000 tweets and retweets. So to go back and find an old tweet that I tweeted 5 years ago is either I've got to search for the right words or scroll back through an unbelievable amount of previous tweets to find those old things. And I wish I would have kept an organized list of them here in the past, because then I could share that with people and be like, hey, here's all my tweets organized by topic, and all of the stuff that I've done there is all recorded online. But if it's not organized easily for people to find it, then it's hard. It gets buried in the internet. So I wish I would have done that starting out, and I didn't think about it. I didn't realize social media would become what it has for me until much later. And now in retrospect, I'm trying to go back and recreate that. So what I've done, I've used this page on Keycode to actually organize all my DermPath stuff. I still have a ton of old tweets that I've not been able to organize, but eventually over time I'll add that. But as I build new content, I keep them listed here by topic. So if you want to see basal cell carcinoma, I've got actually a page here where I've uploaded some sample pathology reports of exactly the wording that I use and the terminology when I sign out basal cells, and how I hedge when I'm not sure, and what I end up saying, all that stuff. And this is here for people to be able to, copy, paste, and edit to their liking and use in their own practice if they like. So I figure I've already done the hard work of building and saving these templates. Why not share them so other people can benefit also? So then I've also got videos about basal cell, big, long 101 style videos, short little videos about different subtopics, and then still images, whole slide digital images, all that stuff. So I have this, and what I found is this is great because I can give a link to this page, which you're welcome to visit on Keycode. And again, I update it and add new links to it about once a month. And I keep a Word document copy of all this. Actually, I update the Word document, and then once a month I come in, I edit this post, delete the whole thing, and copy paste from the Word document to build it to the most up-to-date version. So that's the kind of current system I've used. But the benefit of it is now I can give it to my residents, say, hey, if you want to know if I've got a video of something, here's all of them organized by entity. And yes, did this take me a good bit of time? It did. I started building this like in, I don't know, January or February of 2021. And it took me a couple months. And basically all I was doing was copy pasting descriptions and links from my other videos. And it still took me a long time because I have hundreds and hundreds of videos and posts now. But in any case, the benefit of it is not only can I give this to my residents and be like, hey, this is basically like turning into an online DermPath curriculum, right? And in fact, I'm going to use I've got another page for bone and soft tissue tumors, same exact concept. I just separate them out for ease of, so the page isn't like 1,000 pages long, basically. But I'm going to basically use a modified version of this as the bone and soft tissue tumor curriculum for my own residents in my program. So, and the other benefit is other people around the world can learn from it. And for me, sometimes I forget, did I put a video out about that, or where was that video? And it's easier for me to just come to this page and hit Control F and search for, liposarcoma. And then I can see all of the different liposarcoma content that I have. I found that actually I use this page almost every day to search for and easily find links to share online. It's become basically a library and a reference for my own use, even though all the content here is mine. It's just an easier way to keep track of all of it. So I highly encourage, take the time up front. Again, it can be as simple as a Word document that you keep updated and that you save in a site like Dropbox or somewhere that's backed up. We didn't really have time to go into that, but I use the business version of Dropbox to back up all of my digital slides, all of my images, and basically all of the presentations that I give, because I've spent an enormous number, thousands and thousands of hours creating that content, and I want to make sure that no device loss or hard drive crash or anything is going to take away that content that I've spent so much time building. So I highly encourage, whatever platform you use something that automatically syncs and backs up your stuff to the cloud. Hopefully all of you already do that. Don't rely on external drives. Sorry, this is a little preachy outside of the topic I was supposed to go on, but I can't tell you, I've heard of people losing a large portion of their life's work of educational material because they had hard drive failure. And you may think you'll remember to back up your drive to an external, but you'll forget, and before you know it, 6 months will have passed. Or even worse, God forbid, what if your house burns or you have a flood or something? I had my house flooded in Hurricane Katrina. No one expects those kind of things will happen to them, but every once in a while, unfortunately, it does. So I feel a lot better knowing that at least my data is safe. I can always buy new devices if something goes wrong, but if the data is safe, that's important. So in any case, I hope you'll consider building something like this of your own content as you make it, so that you can have a nice library, and eventually you can use that for, you can write a book with it or share it with people online or just use it for your own reference. So those are some tips and tricks of the kind of basic way that I use digital pathology and other digital resources for education in the digital age. And again, I'm sure that you'll all come up with a bunch of new ideas that I've not even dreamed of yet. And that's the beauty of this, is there's constantly new innovations that we can come up with. And the benefit is that people around the world globally, especially people in low resource settings and in developing countries, have the opportunity to learn for free online so they can better care for their patients. And to me, that's the ultimate reason to do all of this. So I hope this was helpful, and thanks for watching. Have a great day.